You are a young Roman citizen navigating the layered, complex world of love in a city built on power. In Rome, love is never simple. It is calculated, strategic, and wrapped in the ancient language of power. You pass the Colosseum at dusk, its shadow long across the stone. Tonight, love could begin in the arena. A wax tablet arrives at your doorstep, sealed in warm wax. 3 words written carefully inside. Your heart quickens. Your father, the paterfamilias, holds ultimate authority over your fate. Every courtship must pass through his iron will. Yet love finds its way. Stolen glances at the Circus Maximus, poems pressed into trembling, eager, outstretched hands. Tonight is the Lupercalia Festival. Young men run through streets, striking women with sacred goatskin strips for blessed fertility. You watch as names are drawn from an urn, ancient matchmaking in motion, presided over by laughing Roman priests. Welcome to ancient Rome, where every courtship is a strategy, and every kiss carries the full weight of empire. Roman courtship was never merely emotional. It was a carefully engineered social system built upon law, tradition, and enduring honor. At its foundation stood the paterfamilias, the male head of household, whose authority over marriage was absolute and total. Oxford University scholars note that Roman law required a father's explicit consent before any formal courtship could legally proceed. Without paternal approval, no match held legal force. Love, however passionate, meant nothing without institutional and familial authorization from above. Sapienza University researchers note that noble Roman women were monitored from childhood to preserve their pudicitia, their sacred chastity. The concept of fama, public reputation, governed Roman life. A courting couple's every move was observed and carefully recorded. Roman men typically married in their mid to late 20s. Women were often betrothed as young as 12, though marriage came later. The British Museum's collection of Roman marriage contracts reveals highly detailed dowry arrangements negotiated between families long before any ceremony. The dowry, was a formal wealth transfer from bride's family to groom, securing the union legally. These financial negotiations were not cold or unfeeling. They represented a family's profound investment in their daughter's future dignity and security. Roman poets like Catullus and Propertius wrote passionately about love, yet even their verses operated within strict social boundaries. Catullus's famous poems to Lesbia reveal the tension between private passion and public propriety that defined all Roman romantic experience. Ovid, writing in the 1st century BC, produced perhaps history's most extraordinary courtship manual, the Ars Amatoria, or Art of Love. In 3 extraordinary volumes, Ovid detailed where to find love, how to attract a partner, and how to sustain it. He recommended the Circus Maximus as the ideal meeting location, seated close beside strangers in exciting, crowded, and exhilarating conditions. Ask whose horses these are, Ovid advised. Any excuse would serve to start a conversation with the person beside you. This calculated approach reveals a Roman truth. Courtship was a skill, practiced and refined like rhetoric or precise swordsmanship. The gladiatorial games served a dual social purpose, displaying Roman power while providing rich opportunities for public courtship and connection. The Forum Romanum was not merely a marketplace. It was Rome's great social stage, where reputation was built and love discovered. Young Roman men were expected to demonstrate virtues, courage, strength, and moral excellence as essential qualities for attracting worthy partners. A man's cursus honorum, his path of public offices and military service, directly enhanced his desirability as a marriage candidate. Military veterans returning from distant campaigns were considered especially attractive partners. Their proven bravery elevated their social and romantic standing considerably. Roman courtship was, in essence, a diplomatic negotiation, as carefully choreographed as any treaty between competing armies or rival city-states. Think of Roman courtship as a precisely engineered system, as complex and deliberate as the great aqueducts spanning the empire. Every element had a function. Every gesture carried meaning. Every gift, letter, and public appearance was a calculated strategic move. The wax tablet, the tabella, was the primary medium of Roman romantic correspondence, portable, intimate, and crucially erasable after reading. These tablets allowed lovers to communicate privately amid constant public scrutiny. The wax could be smoothed away, leaving no evidence whatsoever. Archaeological discoveries at Pompeii have uncovered hundreds of graffiti declarations. Love confessed openly on walls for all eternity to witness. "I have written on walls about love," reads one inscription. Even in Rome's most public spaces, private hearts spoke openly. The Roman baths, thermae, functioned as the empire's great social equalizers, where senators bathed alongside merchants under vaulted ceilings. Scholars from the University of Cambridge note that the baths were crucial networking environments where romantic and political relationships were cultivated. Separate bathing hours were designated for men and women in later periods, yet social gardens and lobbies remained vibrant and mixed. Giving gifts was a formalized courtship ritual. A man might offer roses, carved gemstones, or apples to signal his intentions. The apple was especially symbolic. Tossing an apple to a woman was a recognized declaration of romantic interest in Roman tradition. Rings were among the most powerful courtship tokens. An iron ring, the annulus pronibus, was given at the formal betrothal. This ring was placed on the left hand's fourth finger, the vena amoris, the vein believed connected directly to the heart. The betrothal, the sponsalia, was a formal ceremony before witnesses. Legally binding, it publicly acknowledged the couple's serious matrimonial intent. Think of the sponsalia as a contract signing, as legally significant as any property deed, ratified by Roman law's full authority. Ovid's Ars Amatoria offered detailed tactical advice on appearance. Men were counseled to maintain clean teeth, trimmed nails, and modest clothing. Women received detailed counsel on perfume, hairstyle, and comportment. Beauty was a strategic asset, deliberately managed in Roman courtship. The Roman concept of elegantia, refined personal elegance, was not vanity. It signaled self-discipline, status, and readiness for partnership. Poetry was perhaps the most potent courtship weapon. A well-composed verse demonstrated intelligence, sensitivity, and the cultural refinement Romans deeply prized. Catullus composed over 100 poems for Lesbia, each a calculated blend of passion and wit designed to captivate completely. Roman love poetry was performative, meant to be read aloud in social gatherings, building the lover's public reputation as romantically accomplished. The Lupercalia festival, celebrated on February 15th, was Rome's most vivid public courtship ritual and Valentine's Day's most ancient ancestor. Young men ran through streets with february, sacred goatskin strips, striking women in rituals believed to invite fertility and love. The name lottery paired young men and women drawn from an urn, initiating brief romances under careful priestly Roman supervision. Torches blazed, wedding songs rang out, and walnuts were thrown for fertility. Every element choreographed with profound Roman cultural intention. Roman courtship, from first glance to final vow, was a masterwork of social engineering, beautiful, strategic, and elegantly enduring. The careful first impression, the strategic gift, the handwritten note. These are not ancient habits, they are timeless human instincts. Rome understood something we still learn, that enduring love requires both passion and architecture, both consuming fire and steady foundation. The paterfamilias's demands were not merely tyranny, they reflected a society protecting what it valued most: family, continuity, and generational honor. The Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, all wrote that love required discipline, not just desire. Feeling alone was never enough. Virtus, Roman excellence, extended to how one loved, to court with integrity, commit with fidelity, and love with deliberate intention. You carry these lessons already, in how you dress with care, in how you choose each word before speaking to someone. When you honor a commitment despite difficulty, when you choose again and again to show up with quiet and steady love. Rome's courtship system was imperfect, constrained by patriarchy and cold calculation. Yet within those constraints, real and enduring love flourished. Ovid was exiled by Emperor Augustus, partly for writing the Ars Amatoria. Even Rome feared love's dangerous and liberating power. 2,000 years later, Ovid's words still resonate. Love is a kind of war, requiring strategy, patience, and considerable courage. Pompeii's walls still hold the graffiti of vanished lovers, proof that the human need to be known and loved is eternal. Every civilization builds roads to connect its people. Rome understood the most important road of all leads directly to another heart. In the grand sweep of history, love remains Rome's greatest legacy. Not its legions, not its laws, but its enduring longing.